Okay, and hopefully that should have all worked absolutely seamlessly, and we're straight in with the first playthrough. So, welcome back to the channel. It's been a little while, and we're back into World Cup design season, which is fun. So I'm running this one this year, which is the first time I've run this contest. I've run Dream Team a couple of times. I'm really looking forward to this. We've got a really good field. Now, some people were able to publish early, so we had 6 or 7 alternates who we didn't really want to bind them to publish at some point 3 months later. So the rule with them is they can publish whenever they like, and I will basically make a decision based on how many people don't finish. I will pick the best X number of courses, and those guys go into the contest. So it's a nice way to work into it with these guys. So we get to see these courses, give them, every alternate will get a proper playthrough, but it's a nice way to raise the curtain on this a little bit. So we've got the Gallows by retteach, retired teacher, I think, and he says, back tees black. I've not, just disclosure, I've not played any of these courses, and I've not looked at any work in progress pictures from pretty much anyone unless someone has sent me something and I couldn't avoid it. So I'm keen for this to be first looks at everything. So plays well from all tees and wind directions. Anything west might be the most fun, so we put it on west. And medium, any key design features, all 4 par 5s are reachable, 4 par 4s under 400 yards, 1 is drivable. Tight routing was intentional. Cool. Intended difficulty medium, so that's CC to elite, somewhere between that. No courses for inspiration, but I know that area in topography. Cool. So I'm going to leap straight in and give this one a play. I'm hoping to get 2 done, maybe 3 done tonight, depends. There will be, for those of you joining in, there will be a form when you publish that you fill out. I've sent it to the alternates, but I'll post it on the day. But otherwise, if you're watching this on YouTube, come and follow us over on Twitch, like and subscribe, etc. But occasionally I go live on Twitch. It's very irregular. But when that happens, you get to chip in. And if you catch me live, it's quite nice for asking questions and that. Right. Okay, so we have... That's our driving range. That's a very nice part of land to be using for a driving range. We've got land working in there. We've got coastal stuff, peninsula, lighthouse. Got to have a lighthouse. It's important. And a water tower, which seems slightly like I don't really understand why that's there, but that's okay. It's not the most important thing. So we're in Highlands, and as you can see, we've got some cool like mountain backdrops, and me flying up and above always means that we're going to see stuff that designers not expecting us to see, and that's also fine. So we can see bits of planting that look nice. Now we have these trees, and we're going to talk about those when we get there. Some little low-lying water, because whilst I haven't played this course or seen it before, I do know some of the backstory stuff with it, because you can't avoid everything. Cool. So we've got a nice use of the new trees, which work pretty nicely. There are some trees I'm not sure are totally fitting, like these spruces and like the blue flowers. Like there's a lot of different colours, and I'm not sure they all quite work together. And then the houses, personally never been a fan of the like drop one every however far along. But hey Teach, glad you could join us. I'd far rather typically see houses bunched together, especially when we're like this sort of area. It's going to be pretty rare that we get houses dotted around like that. But I'm big on the like why stuff goes where it goes. Anyway, plot looks nice. Now, one thing I will say on a plot construction front, if we're looking at kind of the area in which this land sits, we've got high mountains, pretty high, like that's a good 150 foot of elevation, dropping right the way down, and then it's pretty flat from there. I would feel like we'd get more of a gradual slope, and that could lend a little bit of interest. It also means you get these kind of tiered plots sometimes with overlooks from different holes. Anyway, we're going to leap into this. Let's find... See, Jim Gem makes this look so easy, but where the hell is my little man? It's probably over here, because that's where the driving range was. Oh, and we have a clubhouse. And a lawnmower and all sorts of very bright plants. The clubhouse exists, and it's quite nice. Yeah, we will take that. I would worry if I was sitting on one of those tables that maybe this isn't, I don't know, that's a lot of weight on your head. Anyway, so we should be somewhere out this way. One, and we've got a log and a hole sign. People know my thoughts on hole signs. Oh, and a clock. Excellent. Yeah, I just don't think we need hole signs. Yeah, that. What Rhino says. Okay, so first hole. So we have shortish par 4. So the question with this one is, why would you not just bomb it straight over the corner? And I guess the risk is if you end up in this, then that's problematic. This bunker feels disconnected from the rest. I like this one, but I'd probably try to tie them in a little bit more. So like, if you were bringing this bunker here, could we have another one that ties into it and draws your eye this way? So like a little string of bunkers, with this being like the furthest most one out, would work nicely. Equally, what would help maybe is, you see where you've got, like, we've got one grassy area and then everything stops, and one grassy area and then everything stops. Like, bleeding that out a little bit would make it fit a little more neatly. Or alternatively, planting all the way down here as well. I don't know how close you were with meter, but that might have been something. Bunker sculpting is okay. I think we can lower this a little bit more. Like, try and get to this camera angle, and then you'll see that like, the lip is quite high, so we can drop that. Oh yeah, I forgot to see my usual disclaimer. I will give you all sorts of feedback, and my view is always, if you're entering these sorts of contests, it's because you want that. So yeah. Green itself, I will say I don't love the pin because it's very crowned. It's breaking away in all directions. It's literally all directions. 1, 2, 3, 4. Like, generally try and have a tilt to your greens that follows the land. In this case, it's going this way. It would make sense to have it going that way, I would think, which works quite nicely from a strategic point of view. If you're playing out here, then you've got a chance to stay below the hole, but you'd have to take on the bunker a little bit more if the green was sloping this way. Whereas as is, when it's sloping away in all directions, you kind of just have to hit a really good shot. Now, that said, sightline looks pretty good off the tee. We can see all 3 bunkers. Probably they feel a little raised up so that you can see them. They could sit possibly a little bit more naturally. Anyway, we're going to hit a shot. And we have some sort of tempo. Just about. That's all right. So there's definite risk reward on that first hole, and having quite one of the longer drivers. Now, one thing, if Petty were here, tree scaling is kind of off. So we've got these really big trees. We've also got some that are probably autogen that are sitting on impossible land. I know planting is typically just to fill a space. Hey, Seb. But we want to be really thinking about why we're doing what we're doing. So little things. Here, this tree, for my money, probably leaning the wrong way. It's more likely to be leaning away from that. This tree's tiny, this tree's tiny, this tree's really tiny. And then you've got these giant ones up here. Try and like make them a bit more consistent, I would say. And also like this one, how's this one growing underneath this one? And they're really different colours. And yeah, just try and query everything you're doing. Like when you look at the really, really good planters, like your Jamies, Scottishes, etc., maybe Rhino, you see that everything that's there is done for a reason. So yeah, that pin just feels a little bit penal. Like if you hit a perfect shot, you're really close. If you don't, you're rolling a decent amount away. It's just like not Rhino. No, probably agree. Okay. Second hole, we can tell because there's a hole sign. Now I do like the path. I think you've framed things really pretty nicely. I like this planting down here. I like that we can see this tee, the little tree line down this side. Rhino plants just the areas near the holes. And I like your choice of orange grass. I think that works really well. Now there's quite a lot of blue in there and purple. Generally, and apologies, you'll have heard me say this before, I think try and plant the blue and the purple, the colours you've got, try and plant them in clumps. So like you would just have this blue here and then you wouldn't have any more else here. It's just like, it's literally just an accent. It shouldn't be like blue is everywhere. And like those coloured grasses look generally a lot better when you space them out. This is a small green. Bunkering around this green, way better. I really like how it frames. I would probably just lower this side of this one because it looks like this is the high point and then this is just a little horizontal. So drop that down, and the back bunker I'd say you maybe don't need, but back bunkers are tough to do. And probably with a few of your bunkers you can give yourself just a little bit more space to work in. That's quite small, which is why the sculpting gets trickier. That said, I like the par 3 as a whole, and this green makes much more sense. Oh, it's really gone. Did I club up? I didn't realise. But yeah, and the consistent slope on the screen makes it much more predictable. Like, there's a good leave to have. I like that one. AOS. And the little cluster of trees here is much, much better. Like, that makes more sense because you don't have one leaning over the others. I still think they're all a little small, and I'd probably be making them a bit bigger and sinking them down so they're not just popping up. The pines tend to work if they're really tall, but the little ones look just a bit more problematic. Right, Rhino will know where we're going next because there's hole 3 over here. Again, like, the detail stuff around the tee looks really nice. And this planting up here is better. Like, you can see it's working in towards this bunker. Like, everything's tying together a little bit more. I would be extending this out here as well. Like, this is definitely how I started out with planting. Looking back at things like black saw exactly the same when I opened that plot recently. It was just like, there's these areas that I decided, oh, I need to plant here, and I need to plant here, and I need to plant here, rather than it all kind of tying together and becoming one course, rather than here. I think you can see your 4 spots where you've got, I need grasses here, 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 here. And that will really help. Now we've got a choice off the tee. I like the little punch bowl. I think you could have been more extreme with your slopes, particularly given that you're not going with fairway around the green. But it's a nice choice. And on this length of hole, I guess that kind of allows us to lay back a little bit more. Probably would like this hole a bit longer to really... Oh, well, it's going to be longer from now. Yeah. So this length of shot now, assuming we can get it somewhere around the green, we can use some of those helper slopes. I think you've got absolutely the perfect green site. I would just love to see a bit more fairway around this green. Exactly, Matty, exactly. But a little more fairway around the screen would help work the ball towards that hole, because you've got the concept, you've got the perfect spot for this. You've got the bunkering in absolutely the right places. It's just a little bit more ability to run the ball on. Like, there's no real point in having, my money, having a punch bowl is kind of pointless if only the green is doing the punch bowl bit, unless you're going for a very specific type of one. Whereas you kind of want to use a punch bowl to funnel good but not great shots closer or similar. But yeah, I like this. Good uphill hole. I like the way the fairway was bisected. I thought that was nice visually. 3 solid holes so far. I don't know what hole we're on. Oh, no. We've still got hole signs down here. There it is. 4 weeks till the Open. Cannot wait. Okay. Now we have some bunkering stuff here, in that you've given us a bunker that's probably a carry bunker of just like, try to carry this one, or if not, play out this way. But the problem is we then got this one, which is never really coming into play. Only kind of saying, if you can carry this one, you then have to stop before here, which just feels a touch awkward. I think you got the bunkers in the right place, but they're kind of digging in too much, which means the fairway's doing all of this. I would probably be losing this one totally. And even if you did hit to the very left side of this fairway, you're not gaining, you're actually getting a worse angle, so a completely worse angle. So we want to be playing this side anyway, so why? Yeah, I'm a bit flummoxed by these bunkers, if I'm honest. Oh, or we just missed the fairway right. It's fine, it's fine, it's fine. Yeah, we got a little bit still. The bunkers are mostly flummoxed. Have you not seen the word flummox before? Hmm. Yes, I had a really good round at Pinehurst earlier, so I'm overdue. Bunkers are a little hit and miss with the sculpting. Some of them are good. This one works nicely because you've got a clearly defined low side and high side. I would say you probably want to flip the shape a little bit. You tend to want the bottom side to be a little less indented. The top does the funky stuff. But some of them were struggling a little bit more with, like this one. So you can see how the sand isn't really dropping down as much. I know we take our judging seriously. We have to find out what it's like from every corner. And we're still going to be fine. We're going to make a par. It's okay. Or a birdie. It's fine. Who needs putting? It is all me. I'm the only one. It's not. That's not how it's working. Okay. One thing I will say with your planting as well, I think you've got some really interesting land here because you've got a drop off here, but the planting kind of obscures it and makes it just seem like the same kind of hole, even if it's different. We were talking a second ago about bunker sculpting. You can see here how we've raised the land. Yeah, you're not winning 2 in a row. You've raised the land to house this bunker. You want to then go further and tie that in even more so it doesn't look like this land has been raised to house that bunker. So like if I've got a bunker here that I know I need to raise up, I'm going to be raising all the way out to about here, like, and just working away from it. Make it so that you're not having this up and then straight down, which makes it look very manufactured, because the aim of bunkers is trying to tie them into the landscape, make them look natural. Okay, another sort of punch bowl, which I like. Don't think we need the clock. Yeah. If I'm honest, I feel like you're putting your time, some of your time, into the wrong things. So if we look around this green, and I'm not saying you're not trying with the bunkers, you definitely are, but like where I would be putting all of my time would be into sculpting and surfacing, 100%, and then like get the planting looking as good as it can do, obviously. But this stuff, it's not really doing that much, and it probably took a lot of time. I quite like I like the green site, but I don't really know what this is trying to be. We've just got some logs and rocks, and I don't, to be honest, the plain rocky texture with the trees and like some natural grasses, that'd do far more for me, and I think would make this feel more natural anyway. Yeah, same true with the clock. Like, I don't think we need it, but it's a choice. There is a hawk. That Wes, we can all dream, buddy. But again, like where you're putting stuff is good. Like, I'd just buy into the land that you've got as well. Like, you've got this natural area here, the little dip, which is cool. We've got this backstop here. Don't just obscure this by having that one circular planting spot. Try to like work your planting all around it, or maybe just have planting rather than the 2 bunkers or stuff like that. Right, let's see if we can actually hit a good shot and shut Wes up. Not good, but not terrible. I think this is going to be my major nitpick over the course of the contest. We are 14 feet away, and it's breaking in 3 different directions. And this takes a hell of a lot of time, and you have to be really patient with it. But you want to be playtesting this and going, well, where do I want this to slope? Because I can guarantee you did not come into this going, well, this peat's going to go this way, this peat's going to go this way, this one's going to go this way, and this one's going to go this way. And yeah, that's kind of what's happening. And it doesn't really make much of a difference, but it's one of those things that is noticeable between like That's more like the very, very top guys will get that stuff right. And so it's a good thing to be aspiring to. I like this bunker shape. Where's that come? Like it's slightly different, but this is the best bunker shape on the course. I don't love this one. It's not really in the landing zone. I guess if we drop down to 3 wood, but if we're dropping down to 3 wood, I'm already... Like, this is the most risky tee shot, surely. Because if I go down that ravine, which I said on the previous hole, it'd be really cool if you left this slightly more open. Thank you. This is really good. I feel I might as well just take driver, because if I'm in one of these bunkers, fine, that's better than being down here, and still better than over here. Oh, we're dropping frames. We appear to be back. That's fine. It just suddenly hemorrhaged frames for a minute. Okay. Well, hopefully if you refreshed, you're back. Anyway, I feel like just hitting driver over here is the best play. And like maybe taking a little bit off it. That bunker looks really, really nice. Yeah. Okay, so this stuff. Now I believe we've got these trees that were supposedly used to be there to hang people, which it's a cool thing that you've been able to make it. Just not sure I'd base a golf course off it. And this has taken a ton of time. That's taken a lot of time. I don't dislike it. It's just not really... I wouldn't say it's doing that much for me. It does feel a touch awkward, I guess. Hence the gallows, indeed. That can cling on, right? It is very well done. I will give you that. Yeah, same thing with breaks around the hole. They're just a bit... this one's better. But I'd query why we need this slope here. It does look good. Just a touch macabre. I do like that you've waited before taking us down to the coastline. That's a really nice routing move and getting that overlook. See, West, we're 3 under, so screw you. Now we have a hole 7, little par 3. I like the drop shot par 3. Green's got stuff going on. I don't think you really want this slope because that's running us off into light rough. We need a squirrel team, don't we? It's a little bit of a shame that you didn't go for that raggedy kind of bunker you went for on the last is awesome. I would love to see a bit more of that. Actually, if you're going with your theme, like ragged and that kind of intimidating looking would fit really nicely. I will say framing on this is awesome. Like there's loads of good on this course, and I'm nitpicking. That's kind of the job, but right between clubs, bollocks. But it's really good. Like, could easily see this getting into the mate field. Hopefully, I don't know. Bunkering is like the main thing I would pick up on, really. I think the bunker sculpting, particularly, again, you can see behind that green, the top edge. It's a very cool look looking back. If you ever get it where you're seeing like the sand really close to the heavy rough on the high edge of the bunker, then you need to lower the sand and just raise off behind it. But tying that bunker sculpting in as well. Awesome view back here. Really like that. Again, just if we could bring some of the grasses underneath here as well. But you've done a great job. It's really nice. I've got to admit, I was expecting the alternate courses to be worse. So, that's not what we wanted. Damn it, Wes. There we go. That's what we expected. Shame. But that's a cool, like, that's definitely a kind of a, for lack of a better word, a signature hole, and it works quite nicely. Okay. Feels a little similar. I've just noticed we've got mow lines. I just lose mow lines everywhere. I barely ever use them. Okay, this is perhaps a touch similar to the previous hole, and we've got fairways that are very close together. At this point, I'd just make them into one fairway. It would be neater, because your big miss is going to be rewarded more than your slight miss. I have an infinitely better shot from way wide right than I do from slightly right. So, and that might be a routing thing, partly a routing thing. There we go, that's all right. And we're down to that row of houses. Yep, this bunker also, like, okay, it's not as good as the previous one, but that sort of shape, the bigger kind of raggedy one, particularly with the wide fairways you're going for, works really nicely. I appreciate that you've given us more fairway around the green on this one, gives us a chance to run it on. Things I would be trying to tidy up are the runoff. As you can see, you can kind of see the brush that you've used to raise this up or run around the bottom in kind of a circular. Try and make that a bit more random. Have like a couple of raises going in one direction, out another direction, things like that. It will look and play much, much better. Oh. The worry is that this kicks hard right, which is a possibility. Well, we didn't make us out of bounds, so that's good. We're close. So one other little planting thing as well, it's again coming back, the same thing with the flowers really. The clumping, like, so the same is true with these bushes. You can see you kind of dotted 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1. And that's probably because you learned from Andre, we all did, and that's why we all plant this way to start off with. He's really good at making this work. But generally, it will look better if, say, you had, like, if you look in real life nature, like all of this bush will grow together and then there'll be another little cluster or clump, and then there'll be the odd one sticking on its own, but you never see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, etc. dotted around. It works for him because he ties around with loads of grasses and things like that. I mean, I say works, he doesn't design anymore, but way back when. Well, that was unfortunate. I have to say, I know you don't get coastal stuff. This is like all done for you, but this view's really nice. Like, there's just the right amount of planting and framing here. The green site's good. It's got, I'd like you to set your planting a little bit further out and back up here. But the reason this works so nicely is because you've waited such a good amount of time before you took us to the coast, and it's built up that little bit of anticipation. Right. Really cool. Okay, 9. Okay, we have more of a low depression area. All right, let's just look at our overhead here. Yeah, I definitely don't see. I think you could have joined those two, and that would have been neater. I can see why this bit caused you a bit of a headache, because it's fine. It would have been fine joining it for this one, but it would have felt like, or if you made it wider the whole way, that then disincentivizes you from playing this side, and you wanted to use that hazard. I think one of these holes probably needed a rethink, or you join them. That's your only option. Now this one, you've got the little low ravine thing, which I like a lot. That works nicely. And we've got the water coming in this side. I wonder whether you could have just pushed the tee up on this one. Like, let people go for it a bit more. Bring the water into play. You've got that dip. Let people try and carry it. Right. Drive the ball would work, or like, it's begging for a green site over here. Or where you put your fish and chip shot. I don't know. I feel like you've kind of put the green in the spot where you're making almost the least of the land that you've got, because it's turned it into a relatively when you have water or when you have the natural dip that you've got here, like, how are you making most of those in the way that this hole couldn't exist on any other portion of the property? Well, the water's not really in play, and that looks really good. So I'd love to have, I don't know, you could be hitting across it, and the dip looks good, and like we could be laying up short of it, and then, which I guess we're kind of doing, but I don't know. It just feels like I'm just going to hit it on up here, tempo willing, and then pitch on, and that just feels slightly underwhelming for the land that you've got. Where this hole, like if you've got this spot, this hole could have. This is your standard. What's the word? Your connector hole. Like you just need a short four. It's not the kind of showstopper in the round, but it's just one that is solid and does what it needs to do. Those holes you want to save for your least interesting bits of land. When you get your most interesting bits of land, go all out. Make something not necessarily wild, but something that's forcing people to hit a shot they're really going to remember. Bunker sculpting again has been problematic here, I think. To be honest, you probably wanted to raise the green up just a touch more, or lower this bit of land, but that's probably tied in with the water here and your ravine down here, and therefore trying to make this higher than those two, and then that's fighting with the green, therefore being this high, would be my guess. Playing always dangerous when you get a partial on. See, that view is awesome. Every now and again, HP gets it right with those camera angles. Great putt. Great putt. Anyway, like I say, solid hole, but in a position where we'd have wanted something to be absolutely blowing us away. All right, hole 10. Thank you, hole sign. Like this one. However, we can see some stuff. So, bunker, just drop this side. Like you can see it wants to go with the hill this way. Like you don't really, you want your sand to be lower than this part for a start. This bunker, yep, the same old high side thing. Like we've seen that enough, so you'll probably clock it again. Now loads of this green is tilting this way. That on its own is enough. Your green doesn't need to do anything more than that. You do not need this little kicker slope that pushes us in this way. Have it as, it's not that long, longish. I would just have this hole be really simple. Simple idea done well. Bring the green out a little bit further this way. It slopes that way. That's it. Got a couple of bunkers here, water left, hit a good shot. Ideally, somewhere on the green is fine, but ideally below the hole, which means you challenge the water a little bit more. That's kind of your risk reward in a nutshell. But again, frames really nicely off the tee. The big picture framing you've done really well. Oh look, we got a clock. It's still the same time. But yeah, we played to centre of the green. That's going to be fine for most pins. But screw you, Matty. Barton Hills 13 works nowhere. Maybe the real life Barton Hills. The rock work out there looks really nice as well. That works beautifully. How have we birdied that one and not the last? Madness. Okay. This bit of fairway and this inlet. This bit of fairway is pointless. Nobody's using it. Nobody's laying up here. So we need to be thinking about how we're doing this. Because I would basically start your fairway around here, lose some of these trees, swing the whole thing around here. This land is just kind of awkward, frankly. Probably just lose it. Have us hit over the whole cape. People are always taking driver here anyway. Great green site. The obvious green site that you've used really well. Love the look over the next hole. Like this stretch of holes has been done really well. Yeah, this is a good point, Pat. But it's not really a challenge to clear it. Evidently you guys suck. I do really like this, like the approach, certainly. And the tee shot could make me do a little bit more with it. But certainly for CC, that's going to work pretty nicely. But the reason I really like this as a green and an approaches, everything fits, everything makes sense. Sloping is working down this way, the green is in the obvious spot. You've given space on the fairway where it's needed. The planting's really good around here. Just simple done well, it's really powerful. Oh, we almost missed that one as well. Do you think the blue flowers are still a little bit ubiquitous, but it's okay. Oh, we don't have a hole sign. Where's our hole sign? Andre? Oh. No, did we forget one? Surely not. Where's our... Oh no, there it is. Wait, we've got it. 12. Okay. Oh, and we have the centerline bunker. Alrighty. Mid-length par 4. We've had a lot. I'm just going to check the scorecard quickly. Is he? Oh, did we go... Okay, right. We had a 470, that was 5. Was that was the punch bowl thing I quite liked. In this game, I think you need a par 4 that's longer than 470 because they'll all kind of be wedge shots. Either that or you tighten up on driver big time. That's not a bad thing, but I think this could use that. Like, it's just going to help you get that variety. I like this green because we've used yellow slope. I don't love the bit that's falling towards the back here. Actually, now that I'm seeing the breaks falling kind of everywhere, I think simplify your greens generally. Like, this one slope is really nice. Like, for the level you're going for, CC sort of difficulty, like, simple is good. And generally when the bunkers get a little bit small and separated, that's where it's visually causing you some problems. Again, the ragged bunker styles worked way much better and they're a bit bigger. I don't love this bunker, mainly because you haven't really got a high side or a low side. It's all just the same sort of height. And this would be the riskier side because of here, but I get a worse angle in. Don't know. Well, I guess the slope means it doesn't really make much difference. And then if you're here, you're potentially running out of fairway. We have options. I think we can just tie them all together a little bit neater. Generally, I think unless you're going with a really wide fairway, centerline bunkers try and make them relatively small. It is prompting a choice. I think it can be done neater. There we go. Sees hazard, hits into hazard. This is fine. I was gambling on either a fast or a slow. Yeah. We need the bingo. If you can sort that out, Matty, that'd be great. Also, you drink. Yeah, I think with a lot of these internal contours, on the courses where they work really, really well, they're clearly defined and they make, you know why they're there. But there's a big landform from outside the green that makes its way into it. Where they work less well is, like, here it's not a bad example for sure. Like, but what we've got here is just, this has had a raise here, but we've not really worked it outside of the land or thought why that might be there. Now, it is making an interesting pin position here, and it is showing ability to funnel the ball close, so it's not working badly, but you can make it work a little bit neater than you are doing currently by just working out a way, and that's true with all your sculpting. I think you're doing all the sculpting that you need to in that little area. It's tying that into the bigger picture of the plot. Okay, well, we now gone centerline hazards twice in a row, which is a little bit of a red flag, because if you've done it on 12, don't then do it on 13. By all means, do it on 2 holes in the round, but not back to back. Ooh, front to back sort of green I like, particularly for a short par 5. That's a good decision. As it happens, we can clear that anyway. I don't like this bunker, I'm sorry, because it's taking away a good sight line and it's stopping us from seeing these two, which I would want to see. And the skill with this shot is landing it short and in order to, and running it on. And I think this is a really nicely set up shot. I love this because you're encouraging us to bound it short. We've easily got the club to get there, but for this pin, that's not the challenge. The challenge is where do you land it to have it stop on that frontier, which is awesome. But we need to be able to see that. And that bunker is doing nothing for us visually or strategically, really. I am in between clubs as well. Ah, it's in the bunker. Pulled it. It was the right distance. Yeah, exactly. Like, I would say, I quit on that shot. I decided I wasn't going to hit it, and then I did. I would say like 90% of my bunker sculpting is actually nothing to do with the sand in the bunker. It's just tying stuff in and around, and probably about maybe 30-40% is nowhere near the bunker itself. Now, it's a great thing to learn to do because it will be one of those light bulb moments when you start doing it, just like, oh, that makes things so much better. This hole looks awesome. Not sure what hole I'm on though. Ah, 14. Okay. Sorry, it's hard to know. Okay. Yeah, and again, like, I get what we're doing, but this slope really fights with this drop here. If you're going for a redan or something sort of to that effect, I don't think you are, but this is kind of like the ground game 3 by the looks of it. We've got to allow space short, and also if you're doing the redan, which you could do in this land, but it is 100% got to be coming in from right to left. And also, I probably wouldn't do it on this one because you've literally just done it on the 13th approach. It's kind of like you had the same idea, and we said 12 and 13 tee shot was similar, 13 and 14 approaches. A little similar. I really like the 2 bunkers short. I think those work very nicely. These 2 are nicely staggered. Bunker-wise, this is the best looking hole. Yeah, that's a little dicey. Go on, hit that slope I hated. I'll do. Didn't hate it's probably a little strong. I like the commitment to planting down there. I'm pointing at my screen like you can see it. Over here, past the clock. That area. Oh. Boo. God, it's good to have contests back. I'm really enjoying this. Okay, here's our drive ball 4. And again, it's kind of ground gamey, so that's where I definitely would have made your previous hole a bit different to this one. I would be losing this bunker 100% of the time. Bring your fairway out close to the water. Encourage people to come play out here. Let them go there. Then choke it up with this. This bunker here makes sense. This one, lose. Let's draw our fairway all the way around here. Give people loads of space. Just say you want to go, and like you could even angle your fairway a bit more this way. I mean, not that extreme, but like imagine if it was drawing this sort of line and then coming out to here. Well, then you have all your options. Do you want to go for driver? Do you want to play 3-wood somewhere down the middle? But the further I go, because I've got to carry this, like the fairway's further out here, that's bringing this in a little bit more into play. I love the green sight. I think you've done a great job with green sights on this course, actually. Like, that part of this you've nailed. I'd focus more on fairway shapes next. Okay. I do not massively love drive ball 4s that are sub driver distance, personally. I don't know. We've played a lot of them, and it's a way of doing difficulty, but I guess on the positive side, it does mean that everyone has a chance to reach it, so I get that as well. I'm not going to dock you too much for it. It's more just that I've seen the concept done before, and it's... that said, well, I think we have to. There we go. See, why weren't we on that hole with no... See, if you put the fairway out here, that's why. That's why. Okay, pitching wedge? No. 99, 80%, 116. Yay! It is. Yeah, we used up all of our stuff on. Our good stuff was on Pinehurst. We're now into the. No, that's okay. That's solid enough. Got a chip at it. Yeah, I think all I would have done with that one. I like the tree, the solitary tree in the background, and the other lighthouse. Good to have two on one course. Keep this bunker. Keep something here. I quite like that visually. Fairway out here. Yeah. If you want this one, fine, but I don't think you need it. I'd probably just tweak the shape to wrap it around in here a little bit more. Similar comment with the little spine as to the previous hole. Generally, though, fun hole. Water bunker. No water bunkers ever. They're a terrible idea. Get out of chat, Ducker. The par threes have been strong. This is another nice one. Like this bunker, I really like how it frames from the tee. Just the diagonal nature of it. The fact that it's slightly longer. I would say generally, Akashi did have a great water bunker, granted. Generally, your bunkers that are a bit bigger have worked out better. This one, again, we've got the same, yeah, that thing. I like the flatter green. Yeah, the green slopes themselves are still a little bit random. But that's all right. Oh, we're on 16. It's good to be sure. Yeah, I mean, again, we've got, what, a triple breaker? It's just, I struggle to think you ever sat and looked at this green and thought, that's what I want to happen. I think it's just, when you play testing, keep quizzing whether that's what you wanted or not. Oh, there's a putt. Screw you, Matty and Axel. I like the 3-4-5 finish, that's fun. Oh, we're starting to do some interesting stuff with bunkers up here, which we'll come to. Raggedy bunker works better, like that. Again, the sculpting, though, this is like the highest point, and that's why when we go back to the tee, it looks a little awkward, because it's not tied in with that land or planting or anything behind it. And this hole kind of sits on its own little ridge, making it trickier. Straight at the lighthouse. Whee! Now, what I really like about these bunkers, firstly, again, ragged shape. That's the stuff that's working the best. And yeah, the sculpting on this one's still not the best with that bit, but the planting ties it in just a little bit more. I think this bunker, to be honest, you probably want to be raising this bit of the land up for 3-4 feet, maybe. What I like about these bunkers, though, is you've got this kind of diagonal line that's extending from this one, through to this one. And so that creates this really pleasing visual effect, particularly if we went out this way. Like, that sort of staggered look looks great. Maybe a little bit straight on here, but there, awesome. So that sort of stuff that you're doing, I really, really like. The elevated green, I like. That's different, and we haven't had that yet. Big fan of that. Yes, Axel sucks at bunkers too. There we go. That's a really nice hole. There's loads of stuff that is just done really nicely on this course. And I got to say, the Gallows thing is, I only popped up once, and you know what, I'm fine with it. I think it's a little clunky, but each their own. Okay. These bunkers are both just a little awkward. It's really, really, really hard to do a dog leg with water on the outside. And so the bunker I get... Matty is right. The bunker is a touch phallic. Okay. That said, I do like ending on a short 5. try and fade one round the corner, and we're going to fail, but that's all right. Now, I might be wrong, but I've got the feeling you always loved this approach shot, but you weren't really sure how to get to it. And I agree, I like the approach shot. I would probably be lowering the green down 3, 4, 5 feet or so. Make those bunkers a little bigger. I think the whole round you kind of struggled with the bunker sizes. There are times where you've hit it, times where not quite so much. That bunker's then giant and nowhere near in play, but also more the style I think you should be looking for. So I think bunkers would be my big takeaway. Well, we'll do the wrap up in a minute. So wise man once said. Come on. Let's finish on an eagle. There we go. And a lovely view. Again, HB just getting it right at the right moments. Okay, -7 is way better than I thought it would be. Positive. Right. Okay, well, we'll do our little round up then for this course. I think as a first alternate, that's way better than I was hoping for, and I really, first of all, just really enjoyed it. Thought it was a lot of fun. Now, things that I would particularly focus on: bunker sculpting generally, and just tying it in with your big plot picture. And like, one of the best things you can do is just go through. What I would do now is go through courses by some of the very top designers and look at those things that I've just been flagging and just go, how have they accomplished that? So like, go and play a Petty course and look at how the sculpting all ties together, or go and play a Matty course and look at all his bunker shapes and how they work with fairways or sizes or what have you. I could very easily see that one. I mean, the rest of the alternates will look forward to playing, but could very easily see that one ending up in the main contest. I thought there's a ton of really good holes. Little bits to work on, right? But that's going to be the case for everyone. Like, generally have something to say for pretty much everybody. But I really enjoyed it. There's a load of fun holes there. I loved 17. I thought the par 3s were particularly good. In fact, all of the par 3s were good. I'm thinking that's 2, 7, and I can remember all of them. 10, 14 were both coastal, and then 16, yeah, it was playing back out to it as well. There's not a weak one among the bunch. So those were real strengths. I think maybe could have used a longer 4 just for hitting longer clubs in. And I really like the par 5 13th. I wish I could have seen that a little bit more. But yeah, there we go. So we're going to do one more. I'm going to cut the stream now. Be back up in a second.